Well, welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here to some more Fan Fridays. This title got me really interested because it's apparently full crit Drampa. How is that even possible? Like, it doesn't even have the ability that would signal that, and maybe you could, like, Z-move shenanigan it, but how's that going to play out? Also, there's a Slowking, and oh, wait, Slowking involved. Are we going to see Trick Room? Are we going to get into that level of hype? Things might get a little fancy, and it's against a full Legendary team. So we're going to see what Drampa can do under pretty crazy situations. And Drampa's going to protect. So that initial protect tells me it's Trick Room. And we don't see Slowking that often, but it can be good at survival. So yeah, it looks like it's doing exactly what it needs to do. Drampa tanks a hit. Slowking is a very defensive, tanky Pokemon. So even a crit, it will survive, and that's Trick Room. Yeah, all you have to do is just have someone try to take out the Drampa early, and then boom, everything just kind of plays out really well. And then Slowking is going to fling a oh, there it is. Lansat Berry fling, going to get pumped right there, and then throw down the Dragon Pulse. Does that mean the item is actually like a crit boosting item? Shenanigans, guys. What? I've sat there. I went through a lot of mental vocabulary. And the only thing that came out was shenanigans. Like, dang. Alright, how much damage is the Drampa follow-up going to be when you're just getting crits like crazy? So Slowking going to come in with the Skull. That's going to tag a little bit of damage on the Yveltal. And Drampa with the Hyper Voice. So split damage, not going to be the best for it. But it will not be enough to finish off the Yveltal. And does get the double crit onto the Necrozma as well. So that's going to be Necrozma finishing off the Slowking, which is just fine because Drampa wants to take a hit at some point. And since we are in a Trick Room, Drampa can be more defensive oriented. I'm guessing Quiet Nature, Hit Point, Special Attack. Because once that Berserk activates, then things get extra fancy. So Yveltal is going to heal up a bit, but as long as that Trick Room's up, I guess it doesn't matter. Incineroar can come in, get the finishing damage onto Necrozma. Hyper Voice is taking out Yveltal, and we'll actually should be enough to take out the Necrozma as well. And yeah, it looks like Incineroar just gets to twiddle its thumbs for a while. I don't really know what to say, unless you have like setup. You know, that'd be another good opportunity is that if you're going for a really slow Pokemon that's putting out really big amounts of damage, having backup with the Pokemon's really nice. But if it can just get a free Swords Dance, that's going to extra secure a victory right there. And now it's going to be Xerneas with that Fairy Aura. And Drampa with the Hyper Voice, now single target, so will connect a lot of damage right there. And Drampa has a surprisingly high amount of special attack. So there's the big crit damage into Xerneas, and then the Flare Blitz. And the opponent really couldn't do anything. Once you got that Trick Room up, Drampa just gets pretty ridiculous. And Slowking, again, because that Trick Room, it's going to take, Drampa's taking a little bit of damage off of that fling. And then the Lansat Berry gives you the double crit. So I guess it could get really bad if Slowking ends up consuming the Lansat Berry, because I guess it's in a pinch. And then that means bad things could happen. But then, what if Drampa has, like, does it get Psych Up? So that'd be funny if, worst case scenario, Drampa has to, like, Psych Up the Lansat Berry. Alright, and we have another Drampa battle to show off for you guys. But before we get into that, let's break down all the craziness that's going on right here, because this is a really well thought out strategy. Drampa has 36 on the speed. It is going to be an incredibly slow Pokemon, pretty much always going first in that Trick Room. But that means the stats are also pretty solid on it as well. 78, 85, 91 doesn't sound that great, but whenever you max out the hit points on a Pokemon, Drampa's going to get a lot of survivability off of that, and then it has a 135 on the special attack. That's actually a very powerful special attacking Pokemon, also gets Berserk. So with the +1 on Berserk and the always critting, it's getting 2.25 times more damage on an already ridiculous amount of special attack. And that does come at the cost of an item that it seems like we have to be using the Scope Lens and also the Razor Claw, one of those, whatever will give a critical hit ratio. And then we go into the Lansat Berry. So Lansat Berry is also a pretty interesting item because in a pinch, it will boost your critical by 2, which is actually what it means to get pumped. And then just to kind of confirm that, as we can see right here, moves with high critical hit ratio is going to be +1 stage. Held items are going to be +1, then Super Luck and stuff like that. So you can just kind of run down. That's why I thought when I first saw this, I was like, wait a second. Drampa doesn't get Super Luck. It doesn't have an ability that's going to be able to boost that critical hit. Also, I don't think it gets anything that hits critical either. So what are you going to do with it? Well, it seems like you can kind of pull this off with any bulky Pokemon or any Trick Room strat. Drampa's just a really good target for it. And then we have Lansat Berry for the +2 stages. So now that I gave you guys the breakdown, let's go into the battle and watch how it plays out. So it's something unique that makes Drampa very powerful. But yeah, a bulky Pokemon that's kind of doing the same thing can be very successful at the same time. I do see the issue being with the actual berry, that if Slowbro consumes a berry, bad things can happen right there. And then Drampa and Slowking, boom. And oh, what about Klutz? Wait, what is it? Is it Klutz that can't consume berries? Something that just like nullifies the item effect. That would be interesting to kind of add on to this as well. So Drampa's going to come in with that Protect, and that's just going to be free right there. So Shuckle Shell Smash. The opponent's actually going for some shenanigans right now, and also because of that contrary, it's going to be boosting defenses and then lowering all the other stats. So Shuckle will be slower in this situation, but Slowking does get the Trick Room off. And now that whenever you see a Smeargle, you know it's not going to be running the Dark Void, kind of takes away the sting of what it can do, but it might be trying to support Shuckle in a pretty crazy kind of way. So we're going to see where this goes. You know, Smeargle could end up transforming, copying those stats, or doing something, as Shuckle is going to utilize this Trick Room and get even tankier, but it doesn't matter because we're going to be running crit. I think that's just the kind of, man, it sucks to be the opponent. So going to fling the Lansat Berry after getting a really good Trick Room set up, and that's going to be the consumption right there. So gets pumped, Hyper Voice. Ooh, Hyper Voice. All right, looks like it just wants to do as much as it can to Smeargle. Smeargle not even protected by a Focus Sash. And then split damage, resist on Shuckle means Shuckle's not going to take anything. That's actually scary levels of tankiness potentially. But Kangaskhan comes in now, and we're going to see what Kangaskhan wants to do. Ooh, will be a Mega Evolution, but it's not the most it's not the most terrifying Pokemon with crazy levels of damage at this point. So that's something that we're going to have to keep an eye on. So Kangaskhan does go with that Fake Out, and it will target the Slowking. So solid hit onto Slowking. And that's going to be Shuckle with another Shell Smash. I don't know what Shuckle's endgame is at this point because, yeah, eventually Drampa's going to be able to punch through those defenses a lot better than any other Pokemon, especially if he goes for single target on and a neutral hit as well. So Slowking's going to flinch off of that, and Drampa's going to come in with a Dragon Pulse. But it looks like just completely ignoring the Shuckle. Shuckle wants the attention, Shuckle wants some love, and it's just not happening. Kangaskhan takes a big hit, and then throws out the Sucker Punch. So it looks like trying to just get rid of the Slowking, and Slowking will go down to Kangaskhan. But again, focusing Slowking, ignoring the Drampa. Drampa's kind of a scary one right now because it is looking to put down big damage. And what Drampa's also led into with this is that it does get to go for the Hyper Voice. Kangaskhan goes down, and then Shuckle just takes a little bit more chip damage. So the follow-up is good, and that is going to be enough to take out Kangaskhan. And Shuckle, again, I don't see its late game. Is it going to rest? If it has rest, that could be very annoying. But again, Drampa's just going to have very consistent damage against it with those crits. And then Incineroar comes in against the Porygon Z. So Porygon Z does not like this situation at all. It does not want to be a Pokemon that is going last and then receiving double hits. So it seems like the opponent's strategy is going to completely fall apart. Keeps spamming the Shell Smash. And we're going to see how Drampa deals with it. That's going to be the interesting one, is seeing where that goes. Shuckle's special attack won't go any lower, speed, all that fun stuff. And then Drampa with the Dragon Pulse. How much is that going to do to the Porygon Z? It's enough to KO, guys. That's what you need to see about the Drampa. Also, when you figure that one out, that means Choice Specs Drampa does the same amount of damage as Crit Drampa. And then Darkest Lariat, that also ignores the defense boost. So and then the dimensions wear off at the perfect time for Drampa and Incineroar to just land damage. And then Incineroar's going to come in with a Z move as well. I will admit, that smirk that Incineroar gives right as it's powering up the Darkest Lariat, little menacing, you know. It's ready to wreck. And I guess now this is just gonna buy me an extra minute of maybe hopefully not copyrighted gameplay from all of that. But in any case, you know, it does solid damage to the Shuckle, and then Drampa comes in with that Dragon Pulse, neutral, all kinds of fun stuff, and Shuckle will not survive it with the critical hit. So yeah, thinking about that, you know, Drampa, it's able to just come in with a Dragon Pulse, Choice Specs Dragon Pulse, and KO the average Pokemon. Also, if it's under Trick Room Berserk targets, it's going to be able to KO the average Pokemon. But then when you stack Crit and Berserk, which we haven't even seen that happen yet, and Drampa is still putting down good amounts of damage. So there we go, guys. That is going to be the Drampa battle right there. Pretty cool stuff for Fan Fridays. I like seeing these unique ideas and then still finding good amounts of success. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. I'll see you in the next Fan Fridays.